I am here today with part 5 and what is at least my plan to be the last one of this series, and then maybe I'll follow it up with like a questions, that if you guys leave questions down below videos, if I have questions that I can answer in a follow-up video, maybe that would be the last one. But for right now, this is the last one that I have planned. In the first one, this is a series that I've been doing. This is number 5. If you haven't seen any of the other ones, I have a playlist on my channel of all of these things. If you want this paper that I'm using to practice on, it is a free download from a website that I have linked in the description box below. A word about that paper generator: there's all kinds of boxes and things when you go to the page. Don't change any of those and just say get paper, and then you can download it, and this is what you'll get. You can try playing with all of those little boxes if you want to and make all kinds of crazy looking paper, but for this paper that I'm using, it's just the standard what you get when you say get paper, and don't change anything. In the first video, we talked about getting comfortable with our own handwriting and then thickening the downstroke. In the next video, we talked about creating, this was number 2, creating the post, and then adding some serifs to that. In the next video, we talked about changing the center on our lettering and adding some interest in different ways. And then on our last video, we talked about easy bubble letters and how to make big, fat, huge bubble letters, and then some ways that you can use those things in journaling. And today we are going to talk about just some easy, quick ways to set off titles or the beginning of things. And then we are going to talk about how to mix it all up, all the things that we've learned so far. So, as always in this series, I have a pencil with me, and the 2 main tools that I'm using is a Pigma Micron. I'm using an 08. It's the biggest nib that they have. Well, they have a 1 too, but this is one of the bigger nibs that they have. A lot of the Pigma Microns have very fine tips, which work for doing smaller journaling and stuff, but for the sake of making sure you can see what I'm doing, I'm using a bigger nib. And then I just have a regular Sharpie. This is the regular Sharpie nib, and then it has a fine nib on the other end. Again, I'm just using this so that you can see what I'm doing. So I wanted to talk about ways that, now you've got some cool ways that you can write, do your lettering and stuff, but let's talk about how to set that off on a page. A lot of this is about like maybe making titles, putting the date on, putting the, if we're using this in a journaling application, like at the top of your page, or if you want to put a little quote, so say this is your page and you're writing, but you want to include a little quote over here in the side or something, or you want to put your date over here rather than across the top. Let's talk about some ways that you can set that off in a little bit more creative way than just drawing a box or a circle. Again, I am not an expert. This is just, these are just the ways that you have used in the past. So, the first one that we'll look at is just a really basic banner. They're very easy to draw. If you think it's confusing, it's really not. It's pretty easy to do. And then it's the same kind of way here. So, but then I've taken that and I've made a circle around underneath it and created a spot to do journaling inside. So you could do that, on your whole page. But let's talk about how to make banners. So let's see, what side should I use? This one probably. So to make this plain regular banner like this, you want to kind of figure out how long your word is that you want to write inside of it. So that's where I use my pencil. So say I wanted to, if this was my journal page, and I wanted to write up in this top hand corner that it is Monday, I would write my word, and you can either curve it, you can make it go straight across, it's really up to you. So I'm going to make mine slightly curved. Right, so I kind of have an arc going like this a little bit. Well, you can't see that. There we go. So I've just really scribbled it in there. But that's where I want my word. So now the first thing I'm going to do is draw an arc or a line. If you were going straight, it would just be a line. And then match that on the bottom. You can kind of round the corners off a little if you want it a little bit like that, or if you want it very, squared off, you can do it that way. But now you've got room for your word inside the main part of the banner, right? So now to make these tails, the little tails on the end, we will, you want to come off just slightly lower than the top of that one, like this. And then you want to make it the same height. So if it's this high here, you want to make this side one the same height. So when we've come down and cut off that much, then we want to come that much underneath as well and over. You get what I'm saying? So if it's this high here, it's got to be this high here. And then you can just draw it straight across. You can put it out this way. I usually like to do it that way for some reason. I don't know. I just like the way that looks. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. So we're going to come across and down. Whatever you cut off here, you're going to put that much down here and come across and then do our little whatever, right? So you could just leave it this way and that would be fine, but it's nice to have the little shadowy parts so it kind of looks like really like a ribbon is coming across, right? So in order to do the shadowy part, you want to go from the corner of this one. Oops, am I in frame? No, sorry. You want to go from the corner of this down to the corner of this, like that. Corner of the top box to the corner of the bottom box, like that. Makes sense? And now again, you can leave them like that or you can shade them in, just that little triangle that you created, because that would be naturally kind of shaded, right? So there you go. You can do it like that. And now you have a place where you know you can go do your lettering in here, however you're going to do that. Yeah, that was sloppy, but it's lettering, and there you go. And then you can erase the pencil marks. So that's an easy way to set off a title or something. You can make that as long as you want to. You can put a whole quote in there and then just add little banners on the ends. It does not matter how you do it. And this one, I've done the same thing here. I just made it more curvy and I added 2 layers on there. So, okay, I'll show you how to do that. Say we want to write the word Monday again, but we want it more curvy. Really, I mean, you can make it as curvy as you want to. You can make a very severe arc like that. I'll show you how it looks if you make a square one, because I did that first one curvy. So let's say we're writing straight across. Okay. Now I'm going to make my box. So I just give myself a little space on top and then follow that same line across the bottom and put the ends of my box. So all I've essentially done is boxed in my word. If my word was slanty like that, I box it in around it that way. If it's super curvy like this one, then I follow that arc and make the first box around it that way. And then the rest of it all goes the same, right? You can make these come straight off if you're going straight, but you can make them kind of come curved too. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go at a slight slant like this. And I cut off this much at the top, so I need to add that much onto the bottom. And I move over slightly like here, and I add that much down here. Right? Roughly. This is not precise. And then come across. And this one, I'm going to make 2 layers. So that's just a box. Do the same thing on the other side. Cut off that much there, so I'm going to add that much down here. Come across. It's a box. You could leave it like that. That's kind of one interesting way. You could put some circles around it and do some other things and make it look cool. But if we're going for the banner look, then we need to do one more. So I'm going to skip down a little bit more. Right? Add this much that I cut off here. I'm going to add down here. And then I'm going to go with my little whoop-de-woo. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Come over like that. Then we have to make our little things. So again, right, we go from this corner to that corner, and then the same thing here, like that. Then I'm going to turn it and go from the corner of my original box down to the corner of my second box, then the corner of my second box down to the corner of my third box, and I'm going to scribble shade them because that's the look that I like. And now we've got multi-levels. Say you wanted this to go hanging all the way down the side of a thing, pretend like this was a straight line here. You could draw that part of the banner to come as far down as you wanted it to. Right? So on one side you've got this banner hanging all the way down there. You can kind of take that banner however you want to. Like that. All right, now I just drew all in the middle of my page, but so there you go. Those are banners, right? Now let's talk about a way to, if you're doing a couple of words, to use this little slash in between. So say you wanted to say, here we want to say that it is, I'm just going to go in the middle here. I'm going to make myself a box. And we want to, inside this box, we want to say it is Sunday the 21st. Okay, so I'm going to write my lettering, but first I want to create this. Well, why am I doing it in? So I'm going to create this little box. And inside that, well, it's not really a box because I'm not closing the ends, but I'm going to write the in kind of a long, wide, when we talked about our wide lettering, right? So I'm just going quickly and used my wide lettering to write the. And then here I'm going to fit Sunday in as I go. So I'm going to say Sunday. And you could be using any one of the fonts that we've learned. Now I'm eyeballing this and I might run out of room, but I've done it enough times where I'm fairly confident that I can fit this in here. Right? But if it was a longer word, or if you were worried, you could always take your pencil and just kind of create some spaces for you, because you can always erase that. Now you could make this whatever font you want. We could do some posts that could be filled in with something later on, right? Sunday the, and then we're gonna say 21st. I don't know why the 21st, because that just came to my mind. And we'll create those into, anyway, you see what I'm doing. I'm doing it sloppy and fast. But you can put these bold lines in here and it creates this look like this. This is a better example. I was just writing different ways to set it off. So this is set it off. And then I put some dots for some interest there, right? But you've got your bigger word, then a little word, and then that. So if you were saying, you could do 4th of July. Anytime you have some little thing, or you could put a couple letters there too, or a couple words there too, right? Maid of honor, whatever. Just a different way to create some interest. This one I talked about slightly in an earlier video where I was talking about curls, and I said sometimes it's nice to create one big swirly curly letter. It reminds me of like the Gutenberg Bible, where there'll be one, you know, or Renaissance writing, where there'll be one big fancy letter to start a page or a paragraph, and then the rest of it is just the regular script. So that's kind of a fun way to start off paragraph or you know, your page of journaling. Same thing here. This is just like, sometimes I'll just do some little, okay, there you've got an oval and then some little echoes, and I did some interesting looking lettering inside of it. This is one of my favorites, must say. The little banners are one of my favorites. You simply draw a curved line across the top of your page. Let's see, we'll do it on the back here. Or wherever. You can do it across the middle of a page too if you want to separate. If you are only writing a short bit and then you want to go to the next day, you could put a banner and then have the dates there, or whatever you wanted to do. But I'm gonna, for the sake of this, I'm gonna just say we want to put some interest at the top of our journal. Then I do two little bunny ears. Like, I do a simple little bow thing. It's literally just two little loops and little hangy pieces. It's just supposed to elicit the thought of a bow. Then here's the part where you do have to do a little planning depending on how many letters you have. So I had set it off and I needed spacers in between there. So that was a little bit easier because I could put 2 in the middle and 3 on each side and then spacers beside it. But say we want to say the word hello, H-E-L-L-O, right? H-E-L-L-O. So we've got 5 and it's one word, so we don't need spacers. So we know 5, we can go 1 in the middle and then 2 on each side. And you can do them all like triangles. You can do some to look like, whoops, that was probably should have been down like this more. See, this is what happens when I'm going too fast. Then I'll make this one more like what I actually meant to do. Right? And then you can make additional ones on the end to put a little decoration in, which I like to do sometimes if you've got extra space. Right? So we've got our cute little bunting, and then we'd put our words in here in whatever font you want to do them in. I'm just writing them in for now for the sake of time. And then on the ends you could put some polka dots or some stripes. Right, so we've got hello. Ooh, listen to that wind. Whoa. That got a little crazy. And then just to set it off even further, I like to come on the left-hand side of each one and just kind of scribble in a little bit of a shadow like this. I mean, this is super organic. I am super scribbly. You could do this a lot more patiently and really create like a thick, solid shadow if you want to. I tend to like kind of a scribbly look to things sometimes. And like if I'm journaling, you know, I don't have time to like make all kinds of fancy most of the time. But just that little bit of a, even from this distance, look at how that makes a difference, right? So it's just like, look at that. It's super scribbly. But what a cute way to top your, except for that mistake, to top the top of your page off. So the banner is really cute. I like the banner. You can do the banner idea in a different way as well. And I was trying to say here, this is your journal page, and you can hang a little line and then hang just a little flag off it. And these are some different types of flags that I will use. This is just a stack of papers with like a clothespin thing, and you can write on the top one. This is literally just supposed to look like a blanket or something with some little tassels. This is just kind of a sideways deal, and this is a scrolly paper. So let's look at how to do those. We'll hang our line here, right? And I've done it, you can do it right in the middle, you can do it down one side or the other side to just add a little bit of interest. So let's look at this first one. It's just a stack of papers. So I go like that, then I kind of use the same concept as the bubble letters. I just kind of imagine what a paper would look like underneath that, and just 2 is enough, or if you do the most, you can try put a third in. This is usually where I screw myself up, trying to do a third one. Yep, see, I'm already matching up already. And come down and across. Okay, so this top one's what I'm going to write on, and I need it to be hanging from the line. So I'm going to just kind of create this thing that looks kind of like a pretender clothespin or something, right? like that. And then I'll write today is Friday. It's not Friday though. I don't know why I keep saying Fridays in my... There we go. So there's one cute way to do it, right? Let's look at the next one. The next one is literally just piece of fabric-y looking blankety thing. And I'm going to take it just slightly over the top line here so it looks like it's hanging over like that. See what I'm saying? Just slightly over the top line. And then on the bottom, I do knots and fringe. So the knots are just some little scribbly dots like this. And then the fringes, choop, 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 just little lines, choop, 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 choop. Those are the sound effects you make, choop, choop, choop. And so then you could say, Friday, May, Friday, I wrote May. Let's put an A in there. May 14th. Is that any of your birthdays? I have no idea. Just coming up with things randomly off the top of my head. So there's a cute way. So imagine, right, there's your journal page and you just have that little thing hanging over in the corner. This one is just kind of a curvy line like this. Then that same curvy line to try and match it as closely as you can on the other side. And then a line across the bottom. So it's just supposed to look like it's flapping in the wind. And we'll achieve that by shadowing straight up and down with a scribbly shadow I'm doing here, and so you do the shadow along the bottom and then halfway up, and as it curves in, the shadow tapers in. Does that make sense? And then there you can write whatever. It's Friday fun day. So there you go. There's that banner. And then this last one is the one that's a little bit more complicated, and I always screw up the scrolly part. But let's do it. So I'm gonna make it, it looks kind of cute along the edge of a page, right? So you're going to come down and twist like that and come across. You want to come across further than you're going to come down, right? So here's our coming down. And then we're going to create this bottom part here. So we come down and stop. This is where we came over like this. Then we're going to create the rolly part on the bottom by going around and up. So we're going to come curved like that and across. Curved like this because it's the end of the roll, right? And then we'll see the actual end of the roll here. So it goes, let's see, what am I doing? Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then that comes up a little bit more and across like that. So we're creating, sorry, I had to think about that. See what I said? I have to think about this one every time I do it, but it looks cool. So you come down and across, then down and stop, edge of your scroll and across, and then come off this curve and make another curve and straight across there. That's where the paper goes. And then here's where the rest of that paper, okay? So now you've got, that's what you do. It's a little choppy looking because I was being a little crazy. And then you can take this one up across the top just slightly too before you draw your line. So I would often draw these things in first and then draw my line coming out the side of it just slightly so it looks like it's hanging on there. But then you can write in whatever you want to. It's Friday. It's not Friday. I just keep saying it's Friday. Okay. So there we go, scrolling. So we've got different ways that it can hang off of a line, and you can have those going anywhere on your page, right? So different ways to set it off. Interesting, cute ways to set things off. Kind of, again, your imagination is the limit. Then, last thing I wanted to say is, one of my favorite things to do is to mix up lots of different styles of lettering in a page, especially like in a quote or something. So this says, now let's mix up all of the different styles we have seen. And I have used a ton of the different styles of hand lettering all together and kind of sketched it out. I used my pencil to just really lightly layer or lay out where I wanted things and kind of plan out my, spots. I used this to break up the middle. I did some giant lettering. I did shadowing here, but I didn't do shadowing anywhere else, which is fine. I did some filling it in with color here. I did some metallic marker here. I did some sketchy scribbling it in here. We've got dots, we've got curls, we've got tall, high, skinny, high center and low center here. I've got some different pastels smudged underneath this one. I've thickened the downstroke and colored it in here, and I've left it blank here. And all together, when you throw all those different things together, it actually kind of looks really cool. It creates lots of texture and visual interest. So now today your assignment is to go practice different ways that you can add an interest page into your journals. By, maybe if you are a daily journaler and you journal every day, maybe find a quote or something cool that you like, or, whatever. If it's going to be Christmas season, maybe you're moving into Christmas season, or maybe you're moving into autumn. So you make kind of a cool header page and then keep going into your journal. So you've got some visual interest going in and you want to make it look kind of neat. You could do autumn, and instead of putting dots, you could draw little leaves. You don't have to do anything crazy, you can do really simple looking leaves. Autumn happens to be a favorite of mine. So if I were going to do it, you can draw right? If you just draw simple little, really basic leaves like that, and if you did it at the tops of them, as well. Here we'll draw a little acorn on this one, and a leaf on this one, a leaf, and we'll draw another acorn on this one. There you go. You get the picture, right? How cute would that be? And now these are very basic line drawings. I am not a super great drawer. But if I continued and wrote the rest of the word autumn, and instead of putting dots, I put leaves, how cute would that be on your, page that you're kind of making your header page going in? Or the name of the month. You could put the month and then write some kind of quote about the month. From Edith Holden's got all kinds of cute little sayings about each month in her books. So you could put, the month in the middle, and then in different fonts, put some of her sayings. So anyway, guys, again, your imagination is the limit. These are just some tips and tricks and hacks. And as I use them, and as I've used them through the years and done different things, I've just kind of taught myself and learned and figured out different ways to do things that I like. Different fonts and styles of handwriting that I like using. And like I said, never would I ever write an entire journal entry this way, because it would hurt my hand and it would take too long and I would get annoyed. Now there are some people, there is a lady in our Junk Journal Inspirations Facebook group that writes her journal entries in the coolest fonts, and she must have the patience of a saint doing it, but it looks so cool, the whole page like that. If that's you and you want to do your whole page in some cool font, go for it. Like I said, make it yours. This is just a really creative, fun way of trying to do different things, right, to make your hand lettering yours, to get comfortable with your handwriting, and to know that you can achieve some of these cool looking things, you know, by just some practice and get comfortable and do what you want to do. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this series. If you do have questions on this or any of the previous videos, which I have forgot to say this, please go ahead and feel free to leave a comment down below with your questions. And if I have several questions or things that would be much easier to show you rather than type the answer, which is often the case, then I will make a follow-up video to this one. So thank you for joining me for this little mini series that I did here. And I hope that you found something inspirational or informational, or just laughed at me as I, you know, wrote in marker all over a bunch of paper. So I hope that you guys are having a wonderful morning, or maybe it's afternoon, or maybe it's evening, or maybe it's the middle of the night. I watch videos in the middle of the night sometimes. Wherever you are on this planet, whatever time it is there, I hope you're having a good one. And until I see you guys next time, take care and stay safe, and God bless you. All right. Bye, guys.